Holly Kovo from Fitting Fitness In. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition specialist, and welcome to Get Healthy with Holly. Today's episode is about a body in motion stays in motion. We need to move our bodies. Our bodies were made to be moving for our entire life. So our ancestors used to have to move because they were hunting, they were gathering food, they were going and getting water for survival. We don't have to do that anymore. We have the comforts of those being a lot more convenient. So instead we're doing physical exercise programs or classes or biking or running for sport. But what I'm talking about is just moving on a daily basis. Getting out and going for a walk. Taking the stairs whenever possible instead of an elevator or an escalator. If you're traveling through the airports, don't take the people mover. Don't stand on that. Walk next to it. If you've been sitting in a plane for hours, the best thing you can do is keep walking. That's what we usually do. Also, when you're out there, maybe you're gardening and you're using the hoe and you're using the rake and you're digging. This woman has a great, look at her digging for potatoes and she's in a full squat. That's keeping your body moving. I don't think I've ever seen a farmer who works the land be overweight. They're moving all day long, they're lifting things, they're walking out in the fields, and that's what our body is designed for. So we want to make sure you keep moving. You go for a walk, whether it's inside, I know we are in New England here, and sometimes it's not so great weather. Today is a beautiful day though, so get outside and walk. I know I like to at least once a day go outside and walk around my yard. I do loops. A lot of it's uphill. It's uphill, then come back downhill. Takes about 4 minutes for each loop, so I try to do anywhere from 3 to 5 just to get outside and exercise, aside from my teaching classes and exercising on my stationary bike. So we just want to keep moving. And if you're sitting all day, maybe get up and do some knee lift arm pull downs or some jumping jacks or some marching in place. If you're watching TV, get up during the commercials. I call them cardio commercial breaks. Cardio commercial breaks so that you can actively move and not sit all day long. The other nice thing is there's standing desks now, and you can do some standing. There are some treadmill desks. Oh my goodness. That would be a little scary, I think. But get up and move. And standing, you're going to burn more calories than sitting anyway. So we want to make sure that we're moving. And I want to talk about our total daily energy expenditure. There's a nice chart here. This is our energy and how we expend it throughout the day. And the bottom is our BMR, which is our basal metabolic rate. That is the energy used by our body just at rest. So if we were lying in bed, that's what our body uses to function, to get the heart pumping, to have those lungs breathing. That is 65 to 70% of our total daily energy expenditure. 65 to 70%. We don't control that. Then there's 15% of our total daily energy expenditure in NEAT, N-E-A-T, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And I did an actual episode on NEAT. You can look back, so I'm not going to get too far into it. But NEAT is 15% of our total daily energy expenditure. And that is our daily activity like walking. Walking through the grocery store, doing grocery shopping, lifting the groceries, putting them in the car, taking them out of the car, maybe doing laundry. For me, laundry is a big activity because I have to go down 2 flights of stairs. I'm putting them in the washer, in the dryer, I'm folding them, I'm bringing them back up 2 flights of stairs. That's NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's 15%. You have a lot of control over that percent of your total daily energy expenditure. And then there's 10% for TEF, which is the thermic effect of food. That's how much energy our body uses to digest and store the food that we eat. We can affect that by eating foods that burn a lot of calories to digest. And I talked about that in my metabolism show, so you can look back on that one. But we can eat foods that burn a lot of calories to digest, which will help increase our metabolism. So yes, you can affect that one. And then 5% of our total daily energy expenditure is exercise activity thermogenesis, the EAT. And that is when you physically go to the gym and do a workout, or you do an exercise class, or you do a yoga class, even a Tai Chi class. That's you actively doing physical activity. Purposeful, meaningful, productive. That's going to get you sweaty. And that's only 5% of our total daily energy expenditure. That's a hard thing to say over and over again. Anyway, but that's the one everyone focuses on the most. And it's only 5% of what you can expend in a day. So that's great, and everyone should do that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But what you can really affect is the NEAT, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is get up and move. Just keep moving. A body in motion stays in motion. Or if you don't use it, you lose it. Now, I have arthritis and I have to keep moving. Motion is lotion. That's what I say to my clients with arthritis. Because with arthritis, if you don't get up and move, you won't be able to get up and move because your joints will stiffen and it'll be tougher to move. So that's important. Get up and move. That's our total daily energy expenditure. Now, what I want to talk about now is we need to balance our NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, that daily activity, with strength training or workouts, because it is very important to do strength training, especially as you get older, because we're losing muscle all the time and we need to build that muscle up. So strength training you want to do 3 to 5 times a week, and that daily activity you want to do every day, whether it's just walking or hiking or swimming, walking around that grocery store. Something, you need to do some kind of activity, and then you need to do that structured strength training activity 3 to 5 times a week. 3 to 5 times a week. And let's talk about muscle atrophy. Muscle mass decreases approximately 3 to 8% per decade after the age of 30. And then that rate of decline is even higher after the age of 60. So if you can see on this slide, sarcopenia is muscle atrophy. And a healthy muscle is on the young, there's one that's young age of 25, and you can see a very thin layer of fat, very thick layer of muscle, then you have the bone and you have the bone marrow. But on the other side, you see that's a muscle from someone who's older than 65, and there's a lot of sarcopenia there. There's much more layer of fat, there's less muscle, same amount of bone, same amount of bone marrow, but we can control that by lifting heavy weights, by doing resistance training with tubes, by using machines in the gym, even body weight, push-ups. Push-ups is a great body weight exercise, and I encourage all my active agers to do 20 push-ups a day. Whether you start on the wall, then you come down to the kitchen counter, maybe to a chair, you get to the floor, you start from your knees. Push-ups are a great exercise for upper body strength and core. So it is really important to do that strength training so you don't lose muscle mass, because when you lose muscle mass, it has an impact on your health. It increases your risk of falling. And falling is a leading cause of injury and decline among older adults. It limits your mobility when you have less muscle, which limits your ability for independence, for staying independent longer. The weaker you are, if you don't have strong muscles, it's harder to do your activities of daily living. And when you can't do your activities of daily living, you can't live on your own. You can't live independently, and you may have to go to an assisted living or even a nursing home. Muscle loss also restricts your metabolism. You can gain weight or fat because the more muscle on your body, the higher your metabolism. The higher your metabolism, the more you burn calories. It also compromises heart health because think about it, your heart is a muscle. It's a pretty important one too. It increases the risk of insulin resistance when you have muscle loss, and that could cause you to develop diabetes. It gives you complications if you're in the hospital, and it shortens your life expectancy. So it's very important not just to do regular activity and keep moving, but also to add strength training. And I don't mean sticking with 3-pound weights. If you start with 3-pound weights, that's great. But in order to build muscle, you have to go higher so that you're working those muscles harder and building them up. It's important, strength training. But physical activity is also important for your mental and emotional health. There are a lot of benefits. When you get out there and exercise, even going for a walk, it's going to improve your mood and your overall health. It improves your sleep. When you exercise during the day, you sleep a lot better at night. It increases your energy level. You know, after a class or after a workout, you feel energized. You could take on the day. It helps reduce your feelings of depression and stress and anxiety. I know when I'm stressed, I'll get on my exercise bike in the family room and just pedal away for a while, put on some music and go for it. Or maybe I'll put on some music and just dance in the family room. There's no tables in the middle just so we can do that exact thing, dancing or doing activities in the middle of the family room floor. So be active. A body in motion stays in motion. Motion is lotion. If you don't use it, you lose it. Okay, let's make this dip. I saw this recipe. It's Citrus Avocado Salsa, and I was like, oh, I have to make this recipe. So we are going to make this today. And it starts with 2 avocados, and I've cut those up, but I wanted to show you how I did that. So I left 1/2. So I cut it like this, go all the way down and through. And then I do the same, make them a little smaller because we want little chunks here. So that's gone all the way through, and then I take the flattest spoon that I have, and I start and I just go around the edge, all the way down deep. I'm trying to show this at the camera at the same time. It's a little more challenging. All right, and then as you pull it out, it comes into already little pieces, and you can chop it a little bit more to make them smaller. That's nice. These are nice avocados. They're nice big avocados I got from Idlewild. And then these are 2 navel oranges that I peeled and diced. And I have a 1/2 cup of chopped red onions. So glad I cut them this morning at home because my eyes were running like crazy. I don't know about you, but I think red onions make me cry worse than white onions. And then a 1/2 cup of walnuts. I also have 2 tablespoons of crumbled feta cheese. And this is the juice from 1 lime. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of chopped mint and a 1/2 cup of chopped cilantro. So let me start with the cilantro. Now, I'm chopping this with my knife. You'll see I have another tool that I use to chop, we don't want that stem, chop herbs with. But for this, because I kind of want it to have, I don't want it to be too small because I like to have little chunks of it. And I just hold my hand down on the tip of the knife, and then I just chop around with the other part. So I have my measuring cup just in case, just to make sure. Ooh, look at that. I did pretty good. Eyeing that. There we go. And I'll chop the mint. So the mint, the same thing. I like to do it with my knife because I don't mind them being a little bit bigger, these pieces. Ooh, that smells great. I love chopping fresh herbs. Oh, you just get to smell everything. And I'm excited because the mint and the orange makes this a very refreshing salsa. And it's pretty chunky, this salsa. Okay. Let's make sure I'm measuring it right. Gotta say, a little experience goes a long way. Okay. Great. All right, so let's put everything in. We're gonna put the oranges in. Now avocados, I love avocados for a couple reasons. One, it's a great source of vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin B6, as well as folate, riboflavin, niacin, potassium, magnesium, all of that good stuff. It's a great fat. It also provides beta carotene, omega-3 fatty acids. They're very high in levels, they're very high levels of healthy fat, the beneficial fat, and they can help you feel fuller so that you go longer before eating. Let's move this out of the way. So it's really good if you want to lose weight. Okay, so now this is a half a cup of chopped red onions. These I did more finely. Our walnuts. Walnuts also are great food for your brain. We'll put in our mint. And it's also very colorful. You know me, I love color. So, and our cilantro. Now, you have to be careful. Some people don't like cilantro. I have one daughter who loves it. The other one says it tastes like soap. And this is our feta. So the oranges are nice and refreshing, as well as they're a great source of vitamin C and A. And then let's put in our herbs, for our spices first. So a little bit of salt, it's up to you. A little bit of pepper. And cayenne pepper. Just gonna do a dash. That's it. That's up to you. Put that all together. Let me drizzle in some of this lime. Actually, you know what else it calls for is olive oil. Let me grab my olive oil. And that you just drizzle in as well. A little bit of olive oil. Not too much. Oh my goodness, look at that. Very colorful. So I'm gonna mix this up and I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit. I'll put it in the fridge and then I'm gonna make our own pita chips. Now, I am cheating a little bit because I'm gonna start with pita bread. My daughter Jessica makes her own bread and then makes her own chips. I'm cheating a little because, you know, I'm all for healthy, but I want it to be in a good, timely manner. I don't want it to take me forever to do. So here is our dip, our salsa, Citrus Avocado Salsa. It's a nice big one, isn't it? And then let me clean this up and we'll do our pita chips. All right, let's make some homemade pita chips. Now, I did not make my own pita bread. I am using Joseph's pita bread. Oops, that's good. I am using Joseph's pita bread. It's flax, oat bran, and whole wheat, so it's very healthy. And you can, if you have a thicker one, you can cut it and open it up. But I don't want these too thin because you saw how thick our salsa is. If I make them too thin, they'll fall apart. So let me do 3 of these on. Actually, let me flip them over so we can see. And we are going to put some olive oil on there, spread some olive oil, because we're going to cook it in the oven. If it was a thicker pita bread, I would cook it at 400, but these are a little thinner, so I'm going to cook them at 375 because they'll cook very fast. At 400, you probably put them in for, well, we're going to only cook these for about 5, maybe 10 minutes max, and we're going to keep a good eye on them. Now, you want to use a very good olive oil. You can even get some flavored or savory olive oils, even sweet olive oils, but that wouldn't work for our salsa. So what I'm choosing to do is I'm choosing to put rosemary on here. And I have some fresh rosemary. I have one sprig I didn't take off because I wanted to show you a trick on how to get these rosemary leaves off very easily. So you take it and you go against the leaves and it comes right off. So you just go against and they come right off. And then you do have to, at the tips, you have to pull from the sides. I just pull from the sides and pull them off. So it's up to you. Now, before, when I chopped my mint and my cilantro, I used my knife. Today, on this, I'm going to use this handy dandy herb mincer. Let me just do some here. I don't know if I need all of that. and then I just roll on it. And it has these blades, 4 blades, and it just cuts it. Because for the rosemary, I want it a little bit smaller than I wanted the pieces of my mint. I think I got this at Kitchen Outfitters. Handy dandy kitchen gadgets. My sister April always says, you have such cool gadgets for the kitchen. I said, you know, you need to have the right tools when you're gonna do work. Just like my husband has to have the right tools in the garage, I need the right tools in the kitchen. Okay, and oh boy, this smells great. All right, so we're gonna put a little bit of salt on these. Maybe a little pepper. And our rosemary. A little savory, here we go. Can never have too much. Okay, and I'm gonna put these in the oven now at 375. And I put the pita in the oven for about 8 minutes. It says 10 to 15, but I'm starting at 8. All right, I have just taken these out of the oven. Now, you can cut them ahead of time. Before you put them in the oven, they may harden up a lot easier. I did half of the time. Well, I did the first 8 minutes whole, then I cut them, and then I did another 7 minutes. So I did take the whole 15 minutes, because these are a little thicker. I wanted them thicker because the dip is thicker. So I'm just going to lay these on here. Oh my goodness, these smell good. And I have to say, I mean, yes, I did cheat because I already started with pita bread, and some may have made their own pita bread, but it really does smell like homemade pita chips, like I did it myself. And ooh, these smell great. Now, I chose rosemary, but you can do whatever spices you want. You could even make these with cinnamon and make them sweet, but I just didn't think that those would work with this dip. I thought something savory might work better with the dip. And that is our citrus avocado salsa with our own homemade pita chips. I want to thank you for joining me today, and you can find this recipe up on my website at fittingfitnessin.com, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Get Healthy with Holly.